The shadow of the no to the European Constitution still hangs over José Manuel Barroso. In his first interview of the new political season, talking to EuroNews, the President of the European Commission calls on the 25 member states to show more unity in the fields of immigration, energy, defense and external affairs. He sounds a warning to Turkey to respect its engagements with Brussels. What are the policies for the citizens of Europe to be introduced by the European Commission in the next few months?
In terms of concrete initiatives, I can already tell you that during the informal council at Lahti in Finland, due to be held in October, we're going to present our suggestions for a strongly reinforced policy on innovation in Europe. We're going to table a formal proposal for the creation of a European Institute of Technology. It'll be based on a network and hopefully will become a flagship project, a catalyst for research and innovation in Europe. We don't see research being limited to the universities, but being linked with growth, along with the most competitive economies in Europe.
Avec la croissance, en lien avec les économies plus compétitives pour l'Europe. Et on travaille aussi.
Also, we're working on an energy package, which we'll be putting forward next year.
Au début de l'année prochaine.
Est-ce que vous pensez
Do you consider that for major decisions on economic reform, the member states might have to move away from a strictly national approach and speak with a more European voice?
Sur une voix européenne.
Il faut les deux.
Both will be needed. That was exactly what the Lisbon strategy was all about, moving forward on reforms on a national basis, but also backed up with measures on a European level. You're right to identify concerns about social issues. Measures in the social field will be needed to assist those who may be affected by the effects of the restructuring process.
Pour ceux qui peuvent être touchés par certains effets des processus de restructuration.
Generally speaking, though, we're starting to see the positive effects of some of the reforms. The fact is that we now have a level of growth which is significantly higher than that of recent years. Creation of jobs in Europe this year is running at the best level since statistics started to be collected for the 25 member states. So Europe's in a much fitter condition today than it was a couple of years ago.
Aren't some of these changes at the price of social achievements? On pensions, for example, certain countries have had to undertake reforms which proved to be extremely hard to accept for some people.
Undoubtedly, there have been problems. But in general, I think the most important thing is that we've created more jobs. Unemployment is on average significantly lower than in previous years. That's very important. I believe we have reasons to be confident now in Europe. Let's be clear, it may not be enough. We need more growth if employment is to be stimulated even further. But on the whole, it can be objectively stated that Europe is better prepared today than it was 2 or 3 years ago, especially in the face of globalization.
What will the European Commission be proposing in terms of a common energy policy?
Within the European Union, we're trying to explain that it's in the interest of all the member states to avoid fragmentation. It's not rational. And I'm choosing my words advisedly. It's not rational to have 25 mini-energy markets. We need to use the potential of the single market in the field of energy. It's also in our interest to speak with a single voice to our other partners, including Russia and other energy-producing countries. At the same time, we need to tell the Russians that while it's in our interest for them to be credible suppliers of energy, they should appreciate that in Europe, they have a sound and reliable consumer who pays the right price.
Dans une Russie qui soit un fournisseur crédible, ils ont aussi un intérêt en Europe comme un consommateur crédible qui paye bien et qui paye assez.
Vous allez entamer un voyage.
You are soon to go on a trip to Africa. To what extent is your tour there, and particularly to Sudan, linked to the question of the war against terrorism?
À la question de la guerre contre le terrorisme, d'une façon ou l'autre. Est-ce qu'il y a un lien?
Aujourd'hui, tout est lié.
Of course, everything is linked in the international field today. Actually, the main reason for my African journey isn't the anti-terrorism question, but first of all to meet with the Commission of the African Union. Last year, we received the whole Commission of the African Union, and we're going to Addis Ababa to begin a dialogue on a number of questions, among them the issue of immigration.
Nos collègues du continent africain, entamer, approfondir un dialogue sur beaucoup de questions, notamment l'immigration.
Because that's a problem to which a solution can only be found by working together. We're not going to answer this particular problem with security measures. What we need to look for is the long-term development of the countries where immigrants originate from.
D'origine de l'immigration que nous devons chercher à atteindre, c'est ça l'essentiel.
I'm also going to Sudan because of the extremely grave situation there in Darfur. I need to talk to the Sudanese authorities and explain clearly our position. A humanitarian tragedy is happening there. We're not there just to show off our presence. We're interested in results. What we need to do together as the European Union, and here the member states are in the front line of responsibility, is to speak together with one voice. Europe can only carry a lot more weight in the world if it has a genuine common foreign policy, which it hasn't got yet. Or if it has a common defense policy, which it doesn't have yet either.
What are you going to be proposing, and what is the position likely to be taken by the European Commission in the debate and the process which will be happening from October on the subject of the European Constitution?
I proposed, and this has been accepted by the European Council, that the 50th anniversary of the Treaty of Rome, the moment when our community was founded, should be identified as the time when a new impetus could be found. A fresh political statement could be declared, which might provide a political context from which the institutional question could follow. However, I don't think we're there yet. Indeed, there'll be changes in some of the most important states in our community, notably in France, a country where most people voted no. In any case, it's a little premature from the Commission's point of view. We're not proposing any kind of solution because it's not our responsibility. But we do want to help the member states to do it, because this is a treaty between the member states. In the debate with public opinion in the member states to find a solution to the institutional question, I think we are moving forward. This question does have to be resolved. It's important and urgent, but we don't want another mistake to be made.
A final question, Turkey.
La Turquie.
At the moment, we're not particularly encouraged by the information we're receiving. I think Turkey needs to understand that it has to comply with its promises and obligations. Among them are the obligations of the Ankara Protocol, that is guaranteeing the access of Cypriot ships into Turkish ports. These are vessels of a member state.
D'un État membre de l'Union européenne.
At the beginning of November, we'll be bringing out a report on the state of progress of the negotiations with Turkey. What I can guarantee to you is that this report will be honest, objective, and rigorous.
Is it likely that the negotiations could be suspended?
I don't want to anticipate anything at this stage. The report will be honest, very objective, and rigorous.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Merci.